wanted to give a few more details about how we got where we are, and we're at a very critical stage with the United States, with Israel, and the Middle East. Last year we had the incredible 12-day war. We saw Israel do a masterful job of taking care of Iran in ways only God could supernaturally handle. 95% of the missiles fired at Israel did not hit Israel. Very little loss of life. There was some property damage. But what was interesting, in July of last year, I was with Ambassador Huckabee at the Blair House. Netanyahu had invited Christians and Jews that were great supporters of Israel. And through a connection of Tanya's, I was able to be at the Blair House. And I went up to Mike. I said, Mike, your text to President Trump was amazing. And he said, Mike, at 10 o'clock at night, sent President Trump a text stating that you survived Butler, Pennsylvania, that assassination attempt, for a time such as this. I'm paraphrasing, because President Trump was at a very difficult time of making a decision whether to get involved in that war, even if it was a couple days or not, and the pressure on him not to be was significant. But that text, Mike said, went in at 10 o'clock at night, and within 20 minutes, to Ambassador Huckabee's surprise, he got a text back from President Trump, Mike, thank you for sending that. Within 30 minutes, it was up on the Truth Social, and the next morning, Mike Huckabee's full text of encouraging President Trump to do something at that key point in the 12-day war happened. So for 72 hours, we sent our B-2 bombers. They were up in the air for 36 hours. They went in, and it was a masterful job. It was Israeli-U.S. cooperation, and it was a substantial hit, and the 12-day successful war was over. Trump said, that's it. We're calling a ceasefire. It's over. December 29th, Benjamin Netanyahu goes to Mar-a-Lago, and they talk about Iran. And to President Trump's credit, he's been talking about Iran since 1980. He's been talking about the threat Iran is to America and the Middle East since 1980. And they had a very significant meeting, and Netanyahu came out with all his Mossad intelligence, and we had the CIA intelligence, and they had a meeting. And then on February 28th, after the horrific slaughtering of Iranian people, the United States, along with Israel, decided to get into the war with Iran. And I showed you yesterday how significant the attack of Israel and the United States war. It was massive, massive. And I confirmed through a friend with Iran Live that 35,000 Iranians were brutalized and killed within 48 hours. And President Trump, that really bothered him. And that's the lack of a better word. I mean, he was horrified, as the world was horrified and should have been horrified. But a lot of people did not hear about it. So consequently, we became involved in the conflict in a very significant way. And here's the problem and the challenge in Iran. I didn't mention this yesterday. Iran is run by the supreme leaders, Khomeini, his son now, whatever condition he's in, and the IRGC, the Iranian Republic Guard Command, or Corps. These call the shots. These are the ones that are the power center, along with Iranian oligarchs that have a lot of money. The United States and Israel could go in there and decimate this leadership in Iran, but 80% of Iran is supportive of the West, supportive of the Jewish people and the Western way of life. And if the United States and Iran goes in so strongly, it would greatly affect the 80% of people in Iran that are already experiencing. There's still public assassinations. There's still public hangings. So it's at a real sensitive stage. Iran and the United States, it's not easy to overthrow a regime. Supposedly Mossad believed that they could have done it prior to the April 8th ceasefire. They believed that they had the plan. But President Trump was concerned about the economy, about the midterms, about international pressure. He didn't want to do anything before his meeting in China with Xi Jinping. But the bottom line, he is very concerned if the United States decimates Iran, what's it going to do to the 80% of the people that he is and Israel are in support of? So, negotiations start. As I mentioned this yesterday, Iranians are masterful at negotiations. They're masters at delays. Here we are 10 weeks out. No oil is getting out of the we have the Strait of Hormuz boycott. No oil is getting out of the Persian Gulf through the Strait of Hormuz. We've got all these countries who are going to bring trillions of dollars to the United States that are struggling because they have no revenue. The Emirates, Qatar, Saudis. And it's affecting world economies. The United States is in a much better shape because we grow our food, we have our fertilizer, or access to our fertilizer, and we have a lot of gas, and we have a lot of, in the brilliant plan of Venezuela, we brought in 50 million barrels so far from Venezuela, and I think it's almost 100 million barrels a day. I mean, not a day, but since the United States went into Venezuela, which was a very strategic move. So here we are. We need to be praying for President Trump and Israel at this critical time. And one other thing I just mentioned to Bob, Jerusalem Post is reporting that NBC News said that Israel has espionage inside of the Pentagon trying to figure out what they're doing. This is typical media, left-leaning, NBC. It's not a conservative Fox breaking the news. It's NBC News is blaming the worst case of espionage inside of the Pentagon in history is right now taking place because of Israel. And this is what's taking place. So just a quick overview. President Trump's decision, number one, he's concerned about the Iranian people. Number two, he's concerned about the economy of the United States going into the midterm elections. Number three, he's concerned about the world economy. And number four, going in and defeating Iran right now is a very complicated situation because, as I shared yesterday, they now have speedboats that can go 100 kilometers a mile, 100 kilometers, which is 70, 80 miles an hour, along and carrying hypersonic missiles that have 700-kilometer range that can put our ships at risk in the Persian Gulf, in the Strait of Hormuz, and in the Sea of Oman. So, Bob and Mondo, thank you for this oversight. I think we just need to continue to pray for the wisdom. I mean, we are living in the most important time in biblical history, but there is much writing for President Trump. Pray for humility of President Trump. Pray for wisdom of Benjamin Netanyahu, our leadership in Washington and at the Pentagon, and continue to pray for the Iranian people because many of them are coming to know Jesus as their Lord and Savior. That's great news.